New details on the savageness of the invasion.
He's the person that started it. It was unjustified.
As more mass graves in Ukraine are found. An oral treatment approved.
We want to make this therapeutic widely available to all Americans.
For the youngest of COVID patients. No Jimmy Butler, no problem.
Oladipo, stutter step, inside and bang!
As the Miami Heat close out the Atlanta Hawks. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
I'm Zitlali Solate.
And I'm Julian Davis. Today is Wednesday, April 27, 2022.
From the South Florida Media Network's Biscayne-based studios in North Miami, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
Haunting images showing the scope of the massacre in Mariupol, Ukraine. For the third time, mass graves are found in the besieged city.
And as CNN's Gloria Pazmina reports, civilians may have been forced to dig those graves for their own neighbors.
Time is running out in Ukraine.
Good morning, sir.
The United States sought to rally allies Tuesday, promising more support for the war-torn region as part of its ongoing effort to deter Russia's offensive.
The briefings today laid out clearly why the coming weeks will be so crucial for Ukraine. So we've got to move at the speed of war.
U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin spoke at a meeting of defense officials in Germany.
Mr. Putin needs to make a decision to end this conflict. He's the person that started it. It was unjustified.
But Russia is showing no signs of backing down. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres met with Russian President Vladimir Putin Tuesday and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov.
I know that we have today facing the complex situation in Ukraine.
According to the UN, Putin agreed in principle to evacuation of citizens at a steel plant in Mariupol. While U.S. diplomats returned to Ukraine Tuesday for the first time since Russia's invasion, the Pentagon is warning security in Europe remains at stake.
I think the policy of all of our governments together is a free and independent Ukraine.
As talks continue, Russian forces are stepping up their offensive in the south and east of the country. A third mass grave has reportedly been found near Mariupol. According to the city's mayor, Russian soldiers forced residents to take part in mass burials in exchange for food. I'm Gloria Pazmina reporting.
It's a treatment for hospital patients suffering from COVID-19. And as health specialist Mandy Gaither reports, the FDA has now approved it in use for young children.
It's the first COVID-19 treatment approved for children under 12. The antiviral drug remdesivir, an injection, can now be given to children as young as 28 days, weighing about 7 pounds, if the child is hospitalized or at high risk of getting severely sick. The number of new COVID-19 cases among U.S. children grew nearly 12% last week from the week before, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics. Nationwide, new cases are trending up in about 3/4 of U.S. states.
Treatments are really the next phase of this pandemic.
The U.S. has now purchased 20 million treatment courses of another antiviral, Paxlovid. It's a pill that can be taken at home, but is only approved for those 12 and older weighing at least 88 pounds who test positive and are at high risk for severe COVID-19.
We want to make this therapeutic widely available to all Americans so people stop getting, particularly sick or dying once they get infected, if they get infected.
When Paxlovid was first authorized in December, the pills were in short supply. Now a top U.S. health official says pharmacies across the U.S. will soon be able to order the drug directly from the government.
We've got to be ready if Mother Nature throws another curveball at us.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The White House announces that Vice President Kamala Harris has tested positive for COVID-19 while showing no symptoms. Vice President Harris tested positive on both a rapid and PCR test yesterday morning, while her office says she is not experiencing any symptoms. Harris had been in California and had not seen the president since the Easter egg roll event at the White House on April 18th.
A historic SpaceX launch this morning of 4 astronauts headed towards the International Space Station. This morning, 4 astronauts were launched towards the ISS through one of the crafts at SpaceX from the Kennedy Space Center. Aboard was the first black woman to go on a long-duration space mission.
Miami is near the top as U.S. home prices continue to skyrocket with no signs of decreasing anytime soon. Overall in the U.S., home prices are up 20% in the last 12 months. That's according to new numbers from an index by S&P. Tampa and Miami saw between 30 to 33% gains. Experts say the increase in the housing market can continue affecting the rise of interest rates and inflation.
Famous rapper Lil Nas X has announced his first solo tour, including a tour date in South Florida. The Grammy Award-winning artist is set to go on tour this fall. The rapper will be coming to South Florida on Tuesday, October 4th at the James L. Knight Center in Miami. Pre-sale tickets for the Long Live Montero tour start today. Lil Nas X has a huge fan base in South Florida, so tickets are expected to go fast.
The Marlins have a chance to get their record back to 500.
That's still ahead, and so is this story.
Oladipo crossed over, double pump, up and in.
Playoff Game 5 for the Miami Heat coming down to the last possession with two of Miami's biggest stars out with injuries. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music.
Yeah.
Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
I help our fellows design their paths as creative entrepreneurs. My experiences serving startups, creative businesses, and cultural organizations, and my journey as a queer mixed immigrant with Haitian and Arabic roots, inform the co-creative environment we foster at Radcliffe. We leverage our collective diversity to encourage the building of lifelong personal learning networks and mindsets that stimulate continuous innovation.
Miami earning its way into the second round of the NBA playoffs. The Heat added big-name players like Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry so they could win in the playoffs.
But to advance to the second round, they'd have to do it without either of them. The game at the FTX Arena last night. The Hawks needed a three-pointer to end to tie, but the Heat defense stopped them. Final score, Heat 97, Hawks 94. Next up is either Philadelphia or Toronto, Monday here in Miami.
2 straight losses for the Cats after a franchise record 13-game winning streak. The latest defeat was in Boston despite 34 saves by the Panthers goalie. The Bruins were just too good last night. Final score, Bruins 4, Panthers 2. No tears for the Panthers though. They've already locked up the #1 seat in the Eastern Conference playoffs and hold the best record in the entire NHL.
A win in D.C. last night finally bringing the Marlins back to 500 for the season. The Marlins jumped out to a 3-0 lead against the Nationals and then hung on to win it. Final score, Marlins 5, Nationals 3. They now have a total of 8 wins and 8 losses and are sitting in second place in the National League East. The same 2 teams play again tonight.
Well, that's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Julian Davis.
And I'm Zetlali Solache. Get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu.